Hey yo guys, how's it going? Tally here, and today I am bringing you hero content, which hasn't happened for a little while on the channel. You know, it's always good to see our favourite deck. Now, I have recently taken part in the Reddit non-meta tournament. Essentially they ban most of the meta, and they have hits to significantly good rogue decks, which they consider our deck good enough to hit Fusion Destiny, which has meant that I have to change up the deck a little bit, so it's been fun to try out some cards that I've always wanted an excuse to try. Now before we dive into the match, if you like the content please make sure to like it. If you haven't already, join Team Tally by hitting that subscribe button, and of course comment hashtag for the algorithm down in the comments below. Now guys, if we get this to 20 comments and 30 likes, I will post the next video tomorrow. Okay, let's dive in. Okay, so going into game 1 of round 1, we're up against Paleo Frogs as we mentioned earlier on, and taking a look at our hands, we're doing alright. Now they did win the dice roll and they've started off with a couple of good cards. Let's see how this plays out, because our hand's pretty decent too. So of course they start off with Pot of Desires, and if you blink you will miss it, but they have a good few cards to set now. So they have a Solemn Judgment that they've set, they have a Trap Trick as well, they also have a Lost Wind and a Paleozoic Oleonoides, which could be a bit of an issue. They've got 4 really good cards that could interrupt us, and we don't have really 4 plays, so they could outpace us here. And they end it with a set Dupe Frog, but that's not an issue. Okay, now we draw another Faris, which I really wish was a Stratos, but realistically, doing the Faris malicious play, we're doing fine so far, but we're not doing fine when they get rid of our increase. So now we're going to try and play through it. We still have our normal summon and melee, so we're going to go into Cross Crusader, which they hit with the Judgment, which isn't great. So now we really don't have much of a play at all, so we're just going to pass. Now they Trap Trick, they get Oleonoides out from the graveyard, and they have a Canadia as well, but this leaves them with 2 monsters for Totally Awesome. They then go Backjack into Link Rebo, and Backjack will allow them to stack their deck a little bit. And looking at the cards they have set, they have Lost Wind, they have Torrential Tribute, and they have Canadia. Now, overall, these could be problematic, but hopefully we have a decent draw here. Now we do have Increase, which was great, okay, and there's a few things that we can do here, right? So the Increase at the very least is going to force out the Totally Awesome. Now, depending on what they had, right, because I of course don't know at the time, the emergency call could grab us something like Shadow Mist, alright, which was what I wanted, because that could get us more additional plays. So let's see how everything works out here. So they've got the Dupe Frog coming out, that's not really a problem. They forgot they didn't stack their deck because they shuffled it after Dupe Frog came out, which is fine for me, you know, they waste a Backjack. We normal summon Shadow Mist, we then go Increase Tribute and Shadow Mist, and now the Chain Links will resolve as Chain Link 1, Chain Link 2. Alright, so we're trying to chain block the Totally Awesome so that they cannot negate Increase. Shadow Mist we can let die, right? That doesn't need to go through for us to win here, but the Increase needs to go through. Okay, so what happens here is they of course negate the Shadow Mist, which is fine, right? It just loses us an Honest Neos, which we don't really need to win here. They also have the Lost Wind. Lost Wind isn't great, okay, because it targets a monster, and then it negates its effect. Okay, but it negates its resolution, so their target has to be on field. So what we do is we drop a Mask Change on it. So even though they have targeted Increase, because it's not on field at resolution, Lost Wind doesn't negate, Increase is going to summon a Vion, and now Darklaw is going to banish that so it can't reset itself later. That was a lot. Okay, the Vion's going to send gold because we have the Dark Calling in hand. Now, Vion is going to banish for a Poly, nice and easy. Dark Calling going to get us the Big Daddy Bane. Now it's unfortunate they flipped it face down, but it can't be destroyed by battle or card effects, so I think we're fine for just now. Okay, we do a little bit of damage, we then get rid of their Toad, which is great for us, and they don't really have much more. Now, we summon the Bane. Unfortunately that triggers a Torrential Tribute, but the Bane isn't really bothered by that because he can't be destroyed by it. So they just set one, Dinomischus, which can be pretty deadly, and all we need to do, summon Faris, and they scoop. Game 1 goes to us. Okay guys, so here we are in game 2 of round 1. Looking at our opening hands, we have a decent hand. We've got the Faris Shadow Mist play with a Stratos for backup plays. They have a Ghost Ogre, they have a Strike, they have a Dinomischus, Dupe Frog, Backjack. Their hand is pretty decent, our hand is also pretty decent. Now, they're going to set 2 and pass with a Dupe Frog in the middle. Now, gonna be honest, looking back at this I thought, how could I make this work, how could I make this happen? Realistically, there was no way that I could save the increase here because they have the Ghost Ogre in hand. Because I was thinking at the time, probably should have Twin Twistered earlier, because I didn't, but overall, we'll see how this plays out. So we've got the increase, we've got a Mali as a discard fodder for our Twin Twister. Okay, now the Ghost Ogre is going to hit the increase, which is always unfortunate, but they don't really have much against us now. So we're going to go ahead, Ash the Backjack, and we're going to continue with our plays, getting a Mali out, getting a Stratos out for an Honest Neos, and then we're just going to go a very simple Cross Crusader play, getting the Malicious again, tributing it for an Adusted Gold, and going for a Bane. Okay, because realistically, we want to have some protection here. Alright, Bane is kind of the best option that we had. If we hadn't used our normal summon, I probably would have grabbed a Vion, if I'm honest. Okay, now from here we hit the Dupe Frog, which grabs them a Swap Frog, which isn't convenient because Swap Frog is a very good card. So they're going to go ahead, special summon Swap Frog, dump a Dupe, get Swap Frog, summon Swap Frog, and send a Ronin. They now have 2 Ronins, and you might be thinking, Tally, why did you drop Honest Neos there? There's nothing to destroy. I essentially wanted to guarantee that they did not have an opportunity to destroy the Cross Crusader, because we wanted to try and maintain some form of card advantage. Okay, so they do go into the Toad and they can't do anything about it because they've got nothing to beat over. So they just go ahead, they pass their turn, they go into Swap Frog, Swap Frog does its thing. Now, we are going to Bane and they are going to negate with Totally Awesome, but Bane will stay because cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. That gets them another Swap Frog, which I suppose could be really good for them. We then go Shadow Mist, and Cross Crusader into Dread Decimator, and Shadow Mist gets us the Liquid Lad. Now, I chose Liquid Lad here just because I wanted some form of follow-up play. Now, thankfully, the Dread Decimator is going to do piercing damage, which is going to give us a little bit of a buff, and then we can go and deal Almost Game. Now, this Almost Game part is a real pain. Alright, you'll see what they do here. They go Ronin Toadin, which is not once per turn. I've said it before, I'm going to say it again, and that's important. They go into Me Starboy, Ronin Toadin, into Ronin Toadin, into Borreload. Honestly, when we look at the Borreload, like that's just it, isn't it? You know, that should be game. They should be able to take us out here. But because they stole Bane and it was no longer under Dread Decimator, then they couldn't be over it. Or they may have just forgotten because, again, Borreload has that effect to decrease its attack points. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to go Liquid Soldier. Liquid Soldier's going to grab us a Shadow Mist, and the game plan here, grab Mask Change, get Anki, go for the kill. They have an Ash, which is fine, we're just going to have to play slightly different. Okay, but what they're doing, Borreload, they are dropping Dread Decimator's attack every turn, which isn't convenient. Now, when they have the Borreloads, it's easy, right? The easiest out here is they should take the Dread Decimator, because that pretty much guarantees that we have no real plays. But they don't, which I'm okay with. Okay, so here they take the Shadow Mist. And maybe their game plan is that they just want to decrease Dread Decimator to the point of being absolutely useless, to not even being able to beat over a Shadow Mist that's in defense. Which is fair. So moving on to our turn, we grab the bestest boy, Stratos. Stratos is going to use its Twin Twister effect to try and take out their back row to see what sort of threats we're going up against. They send a Backjack, we pop their back row, and then they stack their deck. Now, if you look here, let's do some quick maths. We're on 2200, if they drop us we are down to 1700 exactly, and Shadow Mist has 1500 defense points. So let's see how things go here. So they go ahead, they get the Judgment in the graveyard. Again, they drop us right down to 1700 and we deal 200 for the game. Guys, let's move on to the outro. Guys, that is round 1 of the Reddit non-meta tournament. As always, if you like it, give it a like, and if you love it, give it a share and tell everyone you know about Team Tally today. If you are new here and want to join Team Tally, then hit that subscribe button down below. As always, guys, this was a lot of fun. I'm going to bring you a lot more of these. I'm currently at the point of recording this just having finished round 5. So there's 8 rounds overall, then there's the top cut, so we've got some more of this to come. Overall, guys, you have been amazing. I have been Tally. I will catch you later. Bye.